America's Most Wanted Women. That's what we're talking about today. We've been sharing stories with Dawn and her son Trevor. Trevor lost his twin brother after a woman who was reportedly under the influence of drugs and alcohol plowed into their home. Your brother was sleeping on the couch, lost the brother, and we have not seen this Michelle Comstock yet. Scott Bernstein says that we all need to be concerned about where Michelle is. As the director of the United States Bail Enforcement Agency, Scott believes that Michelle has no conscience and that she could be a threat to any of us. Scott, before we come back to you, because I know that you have some information, you say that she has been spotted since the tragedy. There have been Michelle sightings.
Well, Michelle was fled down to Mexico, and she was actually arrested down in Mexico for a minor drug charge and released. I have personal knowledge investigating this that certain people have been speaking to her on a regular basis, and she is somewhere in Mexico. So we have an old saying in our profession, you can run but you can't hide. So eventually she will be caught. Very close to it.
With the Taliban hanging on to its last strongholds, the hunt for Osama bin Laden is heating up. But how do you catch someone like him? Well, here to talk about that, Scott Bernstein, bounty hunter and U.S. fugitive recovery agent. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
First of all, in the terrorist handbook, which we know that some of the hijackers used, it said specifically that they should not wear turbans and they should shave their beards and try to blend in as much as possible. When we see bin Laden in his own country, he is wearing a turban and has a beard, but can we assume that he still looks like that, or might he have also shaved and done other things to change his appearance?
Well, most likely he might change his appearance depending on the terrain and where he's headed towards. I find here in the United States, when I go after Muslim people myself who are fugitives from justice, they will change and alter their appearance. They will shave their beard, they'll do something with their hair, and most likely, in most instances, they'll also dress like a Muslim woman to disguise themselves from authorities.
So is that what you suppose he's doing, walking around disguised as a woman possibly, with something over his entire head?
I think it's possible. I think depending upon the area, like I said, the terrain he might be, depending what country he's heading towards, if he's still in Afghanistan or Pakistan, he's got so many caves and caverns and places he can hide that he might not need the area disguise that he might be using if he's out in the open.
Right.
So depending who he's traveling with, he's got hundreds of people who are protecting him, armed bodyguards around him 24/7. So it all depends where he's traveling, his path. He has a plan. And what that plan is, this is something for the intelligence community to figure out.
Exactly. What about decoys? We also understand that there are many Osama bin Laden lookalikes who are being used to deceive those who are chasing him.
That's entirely possible. You can have a lot of impersonators out there. This is of such a tremendous magnitude. I mean, countries and millions of intelligence communities have been hunting this man for many years. And how come he hasn't been found yet? He hasn't been found yet because he's smart. And maybe these impersonators or decoys, as you might call them, are implemented in the case that they want to get the disguise off of this gentleman and, you know, and show it where he's actually hiding, and he wants to do the opposite.
Right. Well, you mentioned with all of these people protecting him the importance of intelligence. Do you believe that this $25 million reward will help?
No, I think the $25 million reward is an embarrassment. We're spending billions of dollars of taxpayers' money every day in military action. $25 million is a small, significant amount. You need to find what we call in the industry what we call a Judas, the person that's going to come up and betray his countrymen or betray bin Laden himself and say, here's where he's at, here's where he's going to find him. Is $25 million enough of an incentive to risk their lives? That's for them to say. I think it's very insignificant for the amount of money that we are spending on military action that we should up that ante.
I think Scott is cool. Do you think Scott's cool? He was involved in the Andrew Cunanan case, and he has arrested 2,000 people in 12 years. He has an 85% success rate. And he is able to go places. He's able to do things the police can't do because, as you know, they have guidelines.
A massive manhunt underway to catch terror bad guys on the run. And joining us now with his ideas on how to find the fanatics, a United States fugitive recovery agent, also known as bounty hunter. Scott Berenson's the name, and here he is in action. Okay, here he's not in action. Here he is seated over here. How are you, Scott?
I'm good, Chip. How are you?
So how do you propose to catch these thugs?
Well, it depends what thugs we're talking about. Are we talking about in a domestic or are we talking about in an international?
Well, the five that Rumsfeld was telling us about, they don't even know if they're alive anymore. They just know they left a videotape saying, gosh, it'd be fun to murder a bunch of Americans, and here's my suicide note in case I make it happen.
Right.
So he doesn't know where they are.
No. Well, basically, Rumsfeld is totally clueless about where any terrorist cells are right now. They have no idea where bin Laden's hiding, where Muhammad Ahmed might be. They even said himself, he says, listen, I'm clueless as to what even these five have entered the country might be in the country.
Right.
I mean, here in the country we have right now, we're called as sleepers. There are terrorists in the country. There are fear of imminent attacks. And how do we stop these imminent attacks? We stop them by finding, tracking, locating, and taking them out of the picture. And that's basically how we're going to end any further terrorist attacks. And they are imminent. Terrorist camps are here in the United States. Forget about the five. You got to worry about the 200 or 500 that are here right now.
Videotapes recovered from a terrorist compound in Afghanistan indicate 5 al-Qaeda, including an alleged conspirator of 9/11, may be on the loose. So how do we track them down? We're talking to Scott Bernstein. He's a bounty hunter, also known as a U.S. fugitive recovery agent. All right, first of all, let's put all the myths to rest in the movie stuff. What is a bounty hunter?
Bounty hunter's fundamental occupation is tracking, profiling, apprehending, and returning the fugitive to the jurisdiction in which they fled.
Scott Bernstein, he is a bounty hunter who's Director of Operations for Falcon Investigations and U.S. Bail Enforcement Agency. We welcome all of you gentlemen. Scott, first to you. Now, congratulations. 2,000 fugitives you have brought in, and you got to be congratulated for that. You've taken these folks off the streets. However, in those 2,000 apprehensions, you must have, over the years, had made some mistakes of some kind, gone knocking on the wrong door, maybe even bashed down the wrong door, no?
No, not bashing down the wrong door. Maybe knocking on the wrong door. However, what we're dealing with when we deal with the general public and we're dealing with relatives and friends of fugitives, we're dealing with people who are giving us misinformation. Some of that misinformation originating from the bail bond application. So we're taking into consideration all these different factors that we have to render ourselves in the field. So occasionally, yes, we'll knock on the wrong door. I myself have never taken down the wrong door.
But it doesn't go further than that. You haven't violated anybody's rights, any innocent person who you mistook for a fugitive?
I've never violated the rights, but you have to understand one principal factor. The fugitive on the run has no rights. When he enters into a bail bond agreement, he waives all his rights. If I know 100% that my fugitive is behind a door, is failing to open that door, not giving me access to those premises, then and only then do I have that permission to knock that door down and take him any which way I can.
Here with more on how Lester got caught, bounty hunter himself, Scott Bernstein. He's live in Studio B. You know, I was talking to my assistant today, and I said, I didn't even know bounty hunters still existed.
Yeah, they're still around, going strong.
How is it that one guy with his own little company can do something an entire world of law enforcement could not?
Isn't that the great question? Well, we have the expertise they don't. We're not stymied by bureaucracy. We have broader arrest powers than the police do, and we can cross state lines, and in this case, we can cross into foreign soil to enact arrests. But you have to be very careful when you cross into a foreign territory.
Fox Files went on a fugitive hunt with bounty hunter Scott Bernstein that took us from eastern New York to rural Pennsylvania.
First guy we're going after is a defendant by the name of Juan Acosta. How you doing? Wanting for trafficking in narcotics.
A tip on Acosta's whereabouts.
That's Juan Acosta?
Turns out to be false.
No, that's not him. We had 2 Juan Acostas we tracked down near the same date of birth. It turns out this guy is 8 months difference.
But 22 hours and 800 miles later, we were closing in on our second fugitive.
He's a wife beater, going for assault on his former spouse.
A call to his last known address turns up a clue.
Good news, bad news. Bad news is he's no longer here. Good news is I just got his address and phone number where he just moved to. I will call up on a cellular phone. I'll pretend I'm a friend. I could pretend I'm floral delivery, UPS, Pizza Hut, whatever it's going to be. I've got 100 packages in the back. How can I assume that someone's in there? Well, I don't make any assumptions. I do basically everything on fact. I'll probably make it there in about an hour or so, all right? You going to still be there? All right, thanks, bud. Go around. I just spoke with him. He's at 1520. Let's go. Move, 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 move. Hands up against the wall. Hands up against the wall.
Hold the dog, please.
Lean back. Keep your hands up there.
What did I do?
Huh? Stripped your bail. Right? California. That's where you're going back. Hold that. Got anything on you?
No.
Is she a friend of yours?
My wife.
It's your wife? You want to get him some shoes and a shirt, please? He's going to go traveling. You got any weapons on you? Anything that's going to stick me in the hands?
No. Yeah, was just called saying your UPS.
Yes, it was.
I had a bad feeling about it.
This fugitive is going to Newark, New Jersey International Airport, where bond agents from California will fly in and take him back into custody.
Are you guys like federal agents?
No. We're probably commonly referred to, as you know, as bounty hunters. My best weapon available to me is right here. And if I don't have that fully loaded, I don't even go out in the field.